Coming up on today's San Francisco 49ers report, going into this big and pivotal Week 4 matchup against Arizona, we're going to take a look at the latest Niners injury news, and also could one of the top-tier corners in the National Football League and Patrick Surtain be on the trade block because the Denver Broncos are so awful? All of that coming your way. First, though, San Francisco. Can we get to 91,000 subscribers before our watch party on Sunday? We'll be going live here on the show. Niners, Cardinals, Levi's Stadium. The best place to watch the game outside of being at the actual game. We're a little less than 400 people away from 91K. And if you want Niners analysis every single day, hit that subscribe button. Let's start off with the latest on Pat Surtain II. So the Denver Broncos over the weekend got boat raced by Mike McDaniel's Miami Dolphins. Final score of 70-20. Yes, that is not a misprint. 70-20. And the Denver Broncos going into this week's game against the Chicago Bears might be the worst team in the NFL, although I think it is Chicago right now. That game will certainly decide that. And the thought process here is that if the Broncos continue to tank, we have Broncos fans and even our Broncos host here at Chat Sports discussing the possibility of trading one of the top young quarterbacks in the National Football League. Now, Pat Surtain's father did play in the NFL for more than a decade. And a lot of fans are talking about a potential trade of his son because Pat Surtain took to Twitter to say this: toiling in the soil. And he said this on Sunday, shaking my head. 2, you deserve better. Now, I'll say a premium player like Pat Surtain II does deserve better than to be on a defense that surrendered 70 points, as the Miami Dolphins could not be stopped. And Mike McDaniel was like a scientist in Florida that day. He was absolutely cooking, and that offense was just hitting the Broncos with splash play after splash play, and Surtain wasn't really a big part of that because you might see that score and say, well, what was Surtain doing? Again, he's a very, very talented cornerback in this league. And as this entire conversation pertains to the Niners, a Charvarius Ward, Patrick Surtain outside cornerback duo would be elite. One of the best in the National Football League. And what that allows you to do if you're defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, you put Deommodore Lenoir in the slot, and you're really able to round out your defensive secondary. You already have the best linebacking core in the NFL. And then Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson, excellent players at that safety spot. Of course, a lot of you are asking this: what would the asking price be for Pat Surtain? Legitimately, he's such a quality player, he might demand 2 first-round picks. But San Francisco, contrary to belief, has a lot of draft capital coming up in the 2024 NFL draft on top of having the most cap space in the NFL. Really, where the foundation is set here is the Jalen Ramsey trade a few years ago when he got sent from the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Los Angeles Rams. And at the time, Ramsey, one of the top cornerbacks in the game, 2 first-round picks. That was included in the deal from Los Angeles and a 2021 4th-round pick. That move ultimately did help the Rams and Sean McVay win the Super Bowl back in 2021. Surtain's numbers up to this point: career stats, 36 games, been an excellent player really since his rookie year. 128 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 27 pass breakups in those 36 games to go along with 6 interceptions. He has really good range, good speed, good length to him. Also, a lot of really good instincts playing on the outside, and oftentimes he's the one who is trailing the number 1 wide receiver on the opposition. His career coverage stats in those 36 games: he's allowed a completion percentage in a pass-happy league of 58.7. That's really good when targeted. Only surrendered 1,100 plus yards, 8 touchdowns, and a QB rating of 79.7. Our Broncos breakdown host, Matthew Peterson, did cook up this trade idea, and he asked me what I thought of it. And I want to ask you what you think of it. This is America. Feel free to share your opinions down in the comments section. I think this is a little bit too rich for the Niners' liking here. 2 first-round picks, one in 2024, one in 2025, and then a 2024 third-round pick. I like the player, but San Francisco's secondary has not been an issue for me this year, and I'd rather prioritize defensive line because if you generate that pass rush, you can get by with good, not great play from that secondary. And, of course, San Francisco in this trade would get Patrick Surtain II. How San Francisco is positioned right now, though, and this is why this is an interesting conversation, the Niners have more than $41 million in cap space. That's number one in the NFL. They might be paying premium dollars to a lot of players on this roster, but still have the most cap space in the league. Those dollar figures can roll over to 2024. San Francisco also has 6 picks in the first 4 rounds of the 2024 NFL draft. And on top of that, they could receive a 3rd, 5th, and 3 6th-round compensatory picks. So they are positioned well as we look into the future. With that, certainly an interesting conversation, an interesting idea, and an interesting rumor out there. We tee up our poll question for today's show. I want to hear from the Niner gang down below. Should the Niners trade for Patrick Surtain? Just give me a T for trade or a P for pass. Niners injury news coming up around the corner. First, though, this channel has been able to grow to unbelievable levels. We just had the best month in the history of the 49ers Report. It would not be possible if it wasn't for all of you. But also, we wouldn't be able to have this success if it wasn't for you. We wouldn't be able to bring on brand new sponsors if it wasn't for your support as well. And that's why we're so stoked to bring on Prize Picks as a new sponsor here on the Niners Report, the number one leader in daily fantasy sports. It's easy and exciting, and you can see for yourself at prizepicks.com/CLNS. That's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Prize Picks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. And it is the easiest, most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. And we have a great deal for the faithful. If you use our link and you use the code CLNS, you get that first deposit match of up to $100. Instead of battling versus thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, all you have to do, just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. For instance, going into Sunday's game against Arizona, I like Joshua Dobbs less than 188.5 passing yards. I like Christian McCaffrey more than 86.5 rushing yards because Arizona's interior defensive line not good and their rushing defense a little bit sketchy. And I think James Conner, who's been one of the best backs in the NFL, goes less than 55.5 rushing yards. So really that game of more or less is certainly a fun one to play. What I also like about the app, quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types that make Prize Picks the number one daily fantasy sports app. It's the most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this football season. So go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. We'll put that link in the comment section and in the description of this video. Prize Picks now offers Apple Pay for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Now let's round out with the latest Niners injury news here. And we, of course, have to begin with Brandon Aiyuk, who did not play Thursday Night Football against the New York Giants. The good news was back on the practice field again on Monday, is expected to play on Sunday against Arizona. And another shout out to Niners and NFL News 24/7 on Twitter. We relayed the reporting going into Thursday Night Football that Aiyuk was going to be a game time decision. This account was correct in that reporting, and then they said he's doubtful to play. They were correct in that reporting as well. Another update from that account that Aiyuk is expected to be good to go against the Cardinals. Val Brooks was asking about that a little bit earlier. San Francisco opted to rest Aiyuk for Thursday Night Football. Now he will have no limitations and will be a full go against Arizona. Now that's the report out there. Here's what Aiyuk said on Monday about playing on Sunday. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. I can't wait to go out there and just make a play. I felt it from a different perspective. And Deebo Samuel even said, I miss not having my boy on the field. And speaking of Deebo, hopefully these two are on the field together come Sunday against Arizona, because the Cardinals are going to pose a very challenging and feisty test for San Francisco. Deebo, on the other hand, did not practice on Monday due to his sore ribs when he fell on the football late in that game in the second half against the New York Giants. Kyle Shanahan did say that Deebo is day-to-day, and you look at what he did against the G-Men without the services of Aiyuk. He was just critical in that game, and he looked to be every bit of the 2021 All-Pro that we saw 2 seasons ago. Targeted 12 times by Brock Purdy, 6 catches, 129 yards. The 27-yard pitch and catch on the back shoulder ball from Purdy to Deebo was a thing of beauty. Average yards per catch, 21.5 with that aforementioned touchdown. And Deebo was so tremendous at picking up yards after the catch. The Yak King was yakking. And I'm not talking about the yak after a long college party. The real ones know from back in the day. As for other Niners injury news items, you got Deebo Samuel dealing with that rib injury. Dre Greenlaw also day-to-day with that ankle injury. Ambry Thomas, we'll see, with that knee injury. Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles dealing with a little bit of an ankle ailment. And then Jauan Jennings during Monday's practice was seen on the side field. So San Francisco, for going into week 4, relatively healthy. Hopefully they'll be at least close to 100% at that wide receiver spot. Hopefully Greenlaw is going to be able to play, because the hammer that he brings on the defensive side of the ball every single week certainly is special. Another reminder, we're 3 weeks in. We've done 3 watch parties. You think that we're stopping now? No chance. NFL Week 4 coming at you in a blink, and we're going to be back live on the airways for our Niners-Cardinals watch party, Super Chat giveaways, live play-by-play, audience interaction, and we're on the road to getting that silver plaque from YouTube. Once we get to 100,000 subscribers, we got to get the 91K first. For anybody who wants to reach out, Twitter, Instagram, Gump Wolf, Black Mask, I chop it up with them all of the time because there's some real ones. Hit me up at Chase_Senior, same handle on both platforms. Look forward to hearing from the faithful.